Hello everyone, welcome to ATech Reviews. Today will be my first headphone review. I've been listening to headphones for over 25 years, believe it or not. I stopped listening to closed-back headphones after I've been trying IEMs, for a few years. I think IEMs provide better fidelity, but still I use open-back headphones. And today's video is going to be about the SIVGA P2 Pro, an excellent planar magnetic headphone from SIVGA. And after I tell you a few things about it, I'm going to be comparing it to another excellent headphone, the HiFiMAN Ananda. I think that's the closest sounding headphone I have to it. And then I will mention the differences between the SIVGA P2 Pro and something like the Sennheiser HD6XX. Before I start, quickly, my sources that I use for testing this headphone is going to be my usual sources that I use every day: Topping D90, A90, E70, L70, THX789, along with like portables like Topping G5 and a few dongles I will mention. Let's start. So this is what comes. It comes with this carrying case. I wanted to show you the case. It's a really premium looking case, and it's a hard case actually to protect the headphone inside. And it has this thing so that you can hang it, I guess. And when you open it inside, let's see what comes. This is the headphone itself. Like, I will talk about that in a second. Something I appreciate a lot is that it comes with a balanced cable, like this one. It comes with a 4.4 excellent cable, and you have like this spring here, like for protection, so that if you pull it or something like that, and the cable terminates with a left and right 3.5 marked with green and red for right side and left side. And there's like an early surface here for easier gripping. But anyway, it ends in 3.5 so that if you want to use, a different cable, you can do that easily. You're not stuck with it. And then what they provide inside is, let me see, they provide like 1/4 inch adapter, which you can see here. And they provide this very cool like 4.4 female to like 3.5, so that if, instead of like giving you can use it like that, and then you can use it with a single-ended devices. So like, I like this one a lot actually. It's very useful. Look at how small that is. Let's put this out. You can even leave the case like that. It stands actually due to these 4 stubby metal knobs. The headphone itself, let's talk about the headphone itself. Build construction is like excellent, like top notch, 10 out of 10 in my opinion. You can see here the metal parts and how it flows, and this is actually real wood. And then like, this is the look. Look is going to be subjective. You guys decide what you like about it or not. I don't really care that much. I care more about the comfort aspect of it. And here actually, like, you find a few things they added that makes it a very comfortable. First of all is the swivel and tilt. You can like use it like this. They can move like that, and they can move totally like this side or this side. So this movement, allows you to adjust. Like if I wear it like that, the earpads are angled earpads. So if I wear it on my head like that, I can actually like angle it just like this for comfort, or just do like that. Sometimes I feel I need that cup swivel to adjust the comfort aspect of it. The earpads themselves are super comfortable. Like they feel like, a very nice and soft cushion on your head. Like, I don't feel them at all actually. It's really comfortable. If you've ever tried SIVGA headphones, you guys know what I'm talking about. I have another closed back SIVGA that I've been using for a few years. It's probably one of the most comfortable headphones I've ever tried, and this one is also very comfortable and lands among the top of the headphones I tried in terms of comfort. Then you get this headband that's also lightly cushioned, and the adjustment here, which you can see, doesn't have like preset notches like some other IEMs. Like you don't hear a click sound, like click when you move it. Instead, it's just a very smooth adjustment like that, you can see. So what this allows you to do is that it allows you to fine-tune the way you want to hear, like adjust it on your head. So fit and comfort, it's excellent. Again, 10 out of 10. Weight, it's going to be heavier than some of the dynamic driver headphones, but it's still light enough. Like, it's not an Odyssey or anything like that. I would say it's about 50 grams heavier than the Ananda, which I'm going to show here. Anyway, so I've been using them for a long time now, and let me talk about the sound. Let's start with the description of the sound. I will start with the bass quickly. The bass of the P2 Pro is probably, for me, the best feature it has. You have to understand now it's an open back headphone. It's not going to sound as impactful or as punchy as some of these closed backs. Let's be realistic here. But amongst the open back headphones I have, or the ones I have tried, I would say the impact and slam that you get from here is one of the best. So that's something that is nice. Another thing is like the rumble of the sub bass. One of the things that separate this headphone from other headphones is that you hear a lot of sub bass presence, which is not found in other headphones as well. For example, like the Ananda, I don't feel a lot of sub bass here, but when I hear here, like for example, some tracks like Mountains by Hans Zimmer, this like headphone like unleashes like an excellent and superb performance, thunderous bass, and it's not as fast as some of the more traditional planar headphones, but boy does it have impact, does it have punch and slam, and it's actually pretty satisfying. I prefer more, to be completely honest, but here compared to open backs, I don't think anyone can do more than that. Like, the performance is more than excellent. And when we move on to the mid-range, which is the second part I like about it, it's a very vocal forward presentation. Like, you kind of hear that a lot and you perceive that, specifically the lower mid-range, you kind of hear that this is a tuning that's mid-centric. Although there's a lot of bass and good amount of bass, it's well separated from the mid-range, and the mid-range has a lot of clarity to it and a lot of separation in it. Like, you hear the instruments very well separated and clear from the rest of the mix, and everything is more forward, not shouty, not sibilant. The treble is not sibilant, but things are very forward, and you can hear like the voices and the articulation and things like that with excellent clarity. Instruments like acoustic guitars and violins and tambourines and bongs, all these things are rendered with excellent clarity. Something to experience. It's really like, it reminds me of the 6XX in this regard, because I'm a guy who likes a vocal forward sound signature. It makes me feel very happy. I like to hear voices and words and what they say and stuff like that. I like to hear that, and I like to hear a lot of instruments. And I think the SIVGA renders, the P2 Pro renders that accurately with excellent emphasis, like slightly emphasized, which makes it feel, as I said, very forward and very nice. And when we move on to the treble here, I would say it's like accurate and balanced, like detailed and smooth, but not as forward as some other headphones you get. So it's never sibilant, it's never harsh, but very realistic sounding. Enough air and enough clarity up top, with excellent resolution. Speaking of resolution, this headphone is very resolving, actually. Not the most resolving like in its price range or something like that, but I would say it's one of the top. Like, it's very resolving. It has a lot of detail, a lot of instrument separation. It's very open sounding. Another thing that this headphone does probably better than all the headphones in this price range, at least that I have experienced, is it's very open sounding. And I mean open, I mean really open. Like, when you put this in your head, there's zero isolation. Like something like the Ananda, at least it gives you, like, you feel like the room got 10% quieter. This one, I feel the room is like the same sound as if without it. Like, there's zero isolation, and it's extremely wide. And when I mean extremely wide, like, I feel like sounds are coming so far away from me. It's an exaggerated soundstage. And again, it's not the most natural sound, because I remember it reminds me of the HD6XX, which I owned for a long time. And again, like, some people will enjoy that. Some people will say, oh, this is like really wide. Like, specifically, it makes things sound very realistic, but you kind of feel like you're listening, you know, in an exaggerated soundstage. Like, you feel like, specifically if you listen to orchestras and symphonies and stuff like that, you feel the sound is very wide. like really wide, like instruments are coming from far away. And it is something to experience. You could try that, and it's a really grand experience. And it makes things like sound very, as I said, very realistic, very lively, and very satisfying. Anyway, let's begin with the comparison segment here. I will compare the Ananda and the P2 Pro. First of all is the comfort factor, or the earpads and like the headphone earpieces themselves. The Ananda doesn't have any tilt or swivel, like it cannot move left and right, whereas the SIVGAs can move and you can adjust it like this or the other way around. And this aids in comfort greatly. Like this is actually one of the things I love about it. Here you cannot do that, so anyway. And of course you get the oval shaped part of the earpads and stuff like that. Again, this is going to be a love it or hate it. Like it gives a very different open sound. Like I have to say, this part is good about it, but in terms of comfort, it's not the most comfortable. Like I feel it hits my jaw a lot. Like I'm not comfortable with it 100%. Although it's a small sacrifice to pay, but it's still not the most comfortable headphones. Like if you're chewing gum, like I'm sitting at my desk chewing gum or something, or talking, I cannot do that. And it keeps drooping. Even if I adjust it, it keeps hitting my jaw. And after some time, I don't feel that comfortable. The good part is that your ears inside never touch the inside. And it creates this grand open sound presentation. So that is another thing. Number 3 is the adjustment here. It's like a notch adjustment, so it's not going to be as fine as something like the SIVGA, where you can move it and adjust it, like, you know, in a fine way. And the headband, of course, here it's not padded. It's just a piece of, I think, leather or something. Here you get like this padded and very comfortable headband. And there's the issue like of quality control and stuff like that, but they have good customer service. And anyway, let's talk about the sound. I think the SIVGA has better bass, like straight up sub bass and mid bass. It has a better sound in the bass department. It has better impact. It has better performance. When you compare them, I feel the Ananda is a bit lighter in the bass. It's a bit like less impactful. That's how I would describe it. Here, the bass performance is strong. It gives it a nice impact. It gives it a nice satisfying sub bass rumble that when you compare it together, I feel that the Ananda is lighter in the bass department. The SIVGA is slightly, as I said, around 50 grams heavier. The Ananda is very light. The SIVGAs are slightly more harder to drive, although I feel they're on the same level. Just this, like if I'm, let's say if I'm listening on my amplifier here at 2 o'clock, on the SIVGA I just move it to 3 o'clock. That's it. It's a small amount of difference, but it's there. And another thing is the vocals. The Ananda's vocals are excellent, but specifically the male vocals, I feel they're not recessed or anything. Just they're not emphasized as I would love them to be. They're more focused on the upper mid-range or the female vocal extension. On the SIVGA, the vocals are like emphasized in a nice way, in a clear way, and male and female vocals, like the lower mid-range, like for myself at least, doesn't need any EQ, nor the upper mid-range. It just sounds great, sounds awesome, very forward sounding. You will not find that here. Depends on your preferences, actually. But when I compare them side by side, that aspect became clear to me, that the vocals here are very, very forward, the way I like them, like on my Sennheiser and other headphones, and I like that. On the Ananda, they're a bit more relaxed, so the whole sound is a bit more balanced. And actually, on the Ananda, the treble could be a bit bright, depending. Like, I noticed some sibilance here, for example. Every now and then, it's not a constant, it's not like annoying or anything, but you run into sibilance when you use the Ananda. Even if I'm listening to podcasts and stuff like that, I begin to feel it. But on the P2 Pro, never encountered even a single instance of sibilance, which is another positive aspect of it. Now, when we move on to the treble, as I said, the Ananda is a bit bright sounding, not in a bad way, but the treble is a bit exaggerated. And when you listen to high frequency sounds, you begin to notice when you compare them, I would say the SIVGA is more delicate in the treble department. Realistic, both of them are realistic. Even if the Ananda is exaggerated, it's still realistic sounding and very good sounding, actually. but just you feel the treble is closer to your ear, it's more forward, it has more attention than the rest of the frequencies. Like you feel there is a lot of air, a lot of clarity, and any instruments that have high frequency fundamentals are like rendered with extra emphasis. I don't get that on the SIVGA P2 Pro. I feel that the treble is well balanced, it's clear, excellent rendering, and it's just balanced, realistic sounding, detailed sounding, but excellent. And in terms of detail retrieval and in terms of instrument separation, I would actually say they're both on the same level. Like I cannot say one of them is super massively better than the other. Like that's not true. I think both of them are very similar. In the treble, I think the Ananda has more clarity. I'm being honest here. It has more detail in the treble. The micro details, that those nuances up top are like easier to perceive on the Ananda. But you move to the vocals and the bass even, and you find the SIVGA has more detail in the vocals. Things are more forward on it. And of course, that makes the instruments more clear. You feel that some instruments are better separated on the SIVGA. It's just you hear them better. The vocals are more forward, so of course the details are better. The bass is the same thing. You just hear bass notes, and all these sounds in the low end are easily perceived on the SIVGA. When you compare it to the Ananda, which is lighter, so like the bass is lighter, so you feel, oh, it's not as detailed as here. So it kind of depends. As I said, better treble detail here, better bass and mid-range detail here. In the end, you kind of feel they're very similar. And I cannot say one of them is massively better than the other. That's not true. I just feel, honestly, if someone is choosing from both of them, I think other factors are going to play a more important role in your decision, like comfort, for example. Like, are you okay with this like type of shape of the earbud? Some people complain about it. I'm okay with it. It's not the best feeling, but I'm okay with it. I cannot complain. Whereas some people might prefer something more traditional like that, with an angled and, you know, like an ear cup that like can swivel and tilt and move in every direction. It's very, very comfortable as well. Ear pads are replaceable. You can remove them, replace them with any type you like even generic ones will fit here, no problem. And 3.5 is very nice. Padded headbands. So these are the things that I feel, along with the price, of course, I think are going to make a better decision. The Ananda now, they have like other options and stuff like that. I don't know like how they differ. Like I hear like stealth and magnets and, you know, organic and nanos, and I really have no. I keep forgetting every time I read and someone tells me in a show the differences. I keep forgetting it because of how much they are. Anyway, this is the comparison with the Ananda. Quickly, I will mention one of my favorite headphones, the HD6XX. This comparison is going to be just very small. Like 6XX is a very classic headphone. If you ever use it for some time, you need to change the ear pads. You know, they get crushed after some time. It's a very comfortable one, and it's a traditional sound. I have to say, like, it's not the best bass. Let's talk about that. I love it, and I will always keep it, never sell it, just because of sentimental reasons. But the moment you listen to something like SIVGA or Ananda or anything like that, you just realize how better they sound. The 6XX doesn't have the bass of the SIVGA P2 Pro. The P2 Pro has much better bass quality, and even sub-bass, where it's very, very light on the HD6XX. The mid-range, I would describe it as similar in quantity, maybe slight more emphasis on the P2 Pro. And the quality is different. Like there is, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not detailed like the P2 Pro. The 6XX is not as detailed as the P2 Pro. And when you move on the treble, like the 6XX is a bit, I don't want to say dark, but it's not as, you know, treble focused as other headphones. So you kind of feel that the P2 Pro here has a lot of more detail in the treble, more open sounding. In terms of soundstage, the P2 Pro destroys the 6XX. Like 6XX is not an open sounding headphone anyway, you know. If you guys have it, you know, that's not the king of soundstage. And in terms of detail, the P2 Pro wins anytime. That's just what I wanted to mention about it. The last thing I will end this, I want to mention two things quickly. I want to say, when I compare them very closely and I listen, the soundstage aspect I'm talking about, the Ananda is not a very wide sounding headphone, and I want to emphasize this point. It just sounds open. Things sound grand, sound taller. Things are. It seems like you're sitting in a room, a big room. The sound is coming in a big room because of the way these earpads are shaped. This oval shaped hooks or ear cups is what makes this feeling. But in terms of Soundstage itself, in terms of the width of the sound, it's not actually a very wide sounding headphone. I think the P2 Pro is very, very, very wide sounding headphone. And if you guys ever get a chance to try it, let me know. Because I feel probably this is one of the widest headphones I've ever listened to. Of course, after the HD800S and other headphones, but it's just so wide. Like the sound itself seems like it's coming from outside your ear. It's like I'm listening to speakers that are like 15 inches or more on my left and right side. The sound is coming from there. That's the thing. And also you hear the environment more, so it sounds open like that. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about it. Let me know, guys, what you think. Let me know if you have any suggestions or comments. And then like this video if you like this content. If you want me to review more headphones, let me know. Until then, next time, see you and take care. Bye.